My name is Boaz Keizire. I work with the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa based in Nairobi. I'm a Ugandan. I lead the policy and advocacy work, and I also lead the food systems engagement for the whole continent. So the AGRA is going to be looking at three key things. One, we've been experiencing a series of crises. We started with the climate change crisis. There was a locust invasion in East and Western Africa. We had the oil and gas prices increasing, and recently we had the Russia-Ukraine crisis. The second part of the AGRF will build from the food systems work. 2021 was the food systems year. The commitments that leaders made at the summit itself and the proposals they made to go and do at the country level. Then lastly, this particular year, Africa is going to be hosting COP27 in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh. So the AGRF will be preparing all these crises, the food systems outcome. What can Africa do differently to change the status quo? The way things are being done, business as usual, is not going to take the continent anywhere. So there is a lot of concern. And so global and business leaders, as well as leaders of governments, are going to be meeting in Kigali, Rwanda, to deliberate on some of these fundamental issues and finding lasting solutions. Now, the long-term solutions is what have always been talked about, what leaders have committed themselves to do. Develop long-term strategic interventions, establish what we call strategic grain reserves. The second part is building long-term sustainable solutions such as stronger irrigation, making sure that markets are functioning, and not only in the country, but also at the regional level. We also to make sure that we are increasing production and productivity by building on the needed seeds, fertilizer, all the inputs must work. So some of the solution is let's create strong plans, strategies, but also governance system that allow to make sure that we are accountable to some of the resources that we invest. We've always told people that agriculture is not lacking resources. The challenge is just how we govern and manage those resources to invest in the right things. First of all, the food systems is very comprehensive. It's bigger than agriculture. It's complex because it involves not only agriculture and production, but it also brings in the health aspects, health and nutrition as well. It brings in the resilience to climate change as well as lack of interventions in terms of regenerative agriculture. So we've seen in the past, especially even in Uganda and the rest of the continent, there has been a lot of good production and productivity happening, but it has come at the expense of encroaching on wetlands, degraded lands, cutting forests, meaning we are actually going to create the challenge of disrupting the environment and climate because we want to increase food production for the poor. So from a policy perspective, there are short-term and long-term solutions. The short-term solutions relate to government being deliberate on creating what we call safety nets, cushion the consumers to make sure that they're able to afford food. I look at Africa's agriculture, and by the way, this is stated in what we call the Agenda 2063 of the African Union. And we've tried to visualize or create a vision of how agriculture looks like. First, every household in Africa will be able to afford a healthy and a decent meal. Agriculture will be driven largely by mechanization. There will be few people stuck and working within agriculture will be in the agro-industrialization. We look at agriculture to be more industrialized, processing happening, and also providing the service sector with more jobs. So agriculture is seen as the engine of Africa's economic transformation in the next 50 years.